All right, everybody. So it's been a very crazy week with me going public about everything that's been happening to me over the last 3 years. And I feel like I'm getting to the point where I'm getting physically ill. I am tired. I am sick. I miss my son. And I am tired of these people making a joke about what I do for a living and about my son and about what transpired in this 1 month. So, sometimes I wonder, do people ask themselves, why is a realtor so involved in a divorce? To conceal fraud. Why, when I asked for a divorce, did he go to the mortgage company and the real estate company? Because he knew he committed fraud. So, it's very easy for our judicial system to deny your rights, to steal from you, to lie about you. And they do this off money that we pay them out of our taxes to serve us. So they need us for votes. And why they're needing the votes, and they tell us how they serve the community and how much they want to make everything better. And 90% of the corruption in this world is because the people on top aren't following the rules. The people who are supposed to make sure the rules are followed aren't following them. So that is why our community and our families are struggling, because the people we've entrusted to enforce rights, to enforce laws, don't. They take bribes. They lie. They do favors. And at what point are we going to say we're tired of it? We're tired of lawyers being able to do whatever they want with no repercussions. We have a state bar. We pay the state bar to monitor these lawyers. Why aren't you monitoring them? So I'm going to show you that Rena Hughes is a liar. She's done this many times. And that for 2.5 years, I've been put through pure hell to conceal fraud committed against me to protect companies. And in the midst of them protecting these companies, Bobby Ante has been able to evade prosecution by partnering with them to bash me, to slander me. And, if any of you guys are following the story now, you get a great taste of what I've been going through for 3 years. How greedy, how inconsiderate and selfish Bobby Ante is. So, since they think I'm stupid, I'm going to show you exactly what Rena Hughes did. So when I found out I wasn't on the home, June 26th, I then filed for divorce. When I found out that the money was taken out of my account and the house was bought, I asked for annulment. So I then retained counsel, and my counsel did nothing. His name was Chris Tillman. He partnered with Shumway Van, Bobby and Linda's lawyer, and I'm suing Shumway Van, but they're still allowed to be his lawyer. So I guess they can impose any conflict of interest they want. So they partnered with Chris Tillman, and they delayed my hearings over and over and over again. I would email my lawyer all the time and say, hey, what's going on? We're filing no motions about the contempt, about the abuse that's happening to me, and we need to do something. I was ignored and told everything is for trial, and I'm not their only client. So I then fired him. And when I fired him, I filed into the case myself. So when I filed into the case myself, it was a new case number. I got the same judge. Again, the clerks manipulate these processes. So when the clerk saw that I filed in with evidence, she again sent it to Rena Hughes. And you can also tell right here that in that case, Grayson Moulton was Bobby's attorney. But you'll see later that he wasn't on that day. That from their own paperwork, Garrett Chase was Bobby's attorney. And Garrett Chase is currently Linda Na's attorney, the realtor. So when I got upset and I filed into the case myself, I filed in to legal separation, a separate case, on December 20th, 2018. You can see it right here. I also filed the exact same documents into the divorce case. You can see right here, December 26th, So after I filed into that case, I also filed it into the divorce case, but both judges, Rena Hughes. So now that we know that, and here's from my lawyer acknowledging, hey, why'd you file that legal separation case and not say anything to us? Because again, now I've just reported all the fraud. And now all of them are like, what the heck are we going to do now? So this is what they do. They dismiss that case. They consolidate this that I filed, all this evidence. They consolidate it into the divorce and allow litigation to continue for 2 more years. So I'm going to show you what I filed in there and what I told them. So it's going to be a little while. It's 65 exhibits. This is the same evidence that they took out of the trial binder at the trial. So I'm just going to simply go through and read what I wrote. And as you can see, at the time, this was, what I knew how to do. And every piece of the story that I began to tell, I also had an exhibit. So you can see right here, exhibit 3. So I say something and I prove it. This is how that went. So I am going to start with the beginning. And as I read through it, I will stop and show you guys each exhibit. And then when I'm done, I'm going to read you Rena Hughes' ruling. So you can see how easy it is for the justice system to take advantage of us, to lie about us. And there is no equality in this justice system. There is no equal rights in this justice system. This is a system of bullies with Esquire and Judge behind their names. That's all it is. They're just people. They're people who are greedy. They're people who take bribes. They're people who think that they've gotten so much power that we no longer matter as people, that we no longer have rights. And that's not right. So for them to say it's okay for what has been done to me, it's insane. So I'm going to show you exactly what they did to me for the first 6 months when I found out about the fraud. So I'm going to start with my introduction. Plaintiff Lindsay Ante, defendant Bobby Ante were married on November 25th, 2017 in the city of Las Vegas. On November 3rd, 2017, plaintiff Lindsay Ante lost her son to childhood cancer. Prior to a week before November 3rd, 2017, the plaintiff and the defendant spent maybe one day a month together. The defendant, Bobby Ante, never spent the night at the plaintiff's home, nor ever came to the hospital to support the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, or her son, Aiden Brown, even though he lived 5 minutes from our house. The defendant, Bobby Ante, showed no interest in the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, until her son raised the $265,000 to seek alternative treatments. When the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, began to raise funds to help her dying son, defendant Bobby Ante began to show false interest in Aiden and plaintiff Lindsay Ante. On November 3rd, 2017, Aiden took his last breath, and plaintiff Lindsay Ante and defendant Bobby Ante watched his soul drift away. Plaintiff Lindsay Ante went to the hospital to attempt to bring Aiden back, and he was later pronounced dead. After taking Aiden's body away, defendant Bobby Ante drove plaintiff Lindsay Ante home, and that was the first time the defendant stayed the night. Defendant Bobby Ante never went home after this evening. Defendant Bobby Ante then moved in the residence of plaintiff Lindsay Ante, in which for the next 3 months, he contributed nothing to the home or cars or anything. Defendant Bobby Ante lived free of all bills for the next 3 months. Plaintiff Lindsay Ante, clearly devastated by the loss of Aiden, was vulnerable and a target for Bobby Ante, which will be proven in this complaint. Plaintiff Lindsay Ante fought for 2 years to save her son, Aiden Brown. In the quest to bring resources, plaintiff Lindsay Ante started a GoFundMe in December of 2016 to help Aiden through his treatment. When Aiden became terminal, plaintiff Lindsay Ante took her plea to social media to get any help available for Aiden. A couple months prior to Aiden's passing, his story went viral. And through his GoFundMe, plaintiff Lindsay Ante raised $266,000 for Aiden's treatment. Nowhere on any of Aiden's GoFundMe did the plaintiff ever mention raising funds for Aiden's Army of Angels. This was solely an account created for Aiden and at no point ever misled any donors to believe otherwise. Exhibit 1. Exhibit 1. And a copy of Aiden's GoFundMe. The fact that the defendant keeps referring to the foundation owned by the plaintiff supports the plaintiff's claims that the defendant had ill will towards the work of the plaintiff simply to cover his own fraudulent actions. Aiden's Army of Angels raised $73,000 in 2017 via our PayPal, our only way to accept donations online at the time. Exhibit 2. So, Aiden's Army of Angels only had a PayPal in 2017. It raised $73,000. So this is Exhibit 2. Here is a copy of our PayPal for Aiden's Army of Angels. And then this also shows them again how much we raised. I again gave him the full PayPal statements that showed him exactly how much money was raised through the foundation. The 2017 IRS tax return from Aiden's Army of Angels revenue total was $208,000. Exhibit 3. So even though we only raised $73,000 through our PayPal, we finished at $208,000 because I put the money there. Here is our 2017 tax return. And nowhere on anything, it's public information, feel free to look it up, does it say I bought a house? Nowhere. So, this is only because plaintiff Lindsay Ante gave over $140,000 of the funds raised for Aiden back into his foundation to keep his legacy alive, as I promised I would do. This made the defendant, Bobby Ante, sick to watch the plaintiff give so much money to people she didn't even know, rather than selfishly take care of herself. Defendant Bobby Ante, who has never had any interactions with Aiden's Army of Angels, aside from volunteering at a couple events, nor our financial records, has done nothing and said anything in his power to slander Aiden's Army of Angels and plaintiff Lindsay Ante, and has caused unnecessary pain and suffering for the plaintiff in hopes of ruining a childhood cancer foundation that is helping hundreds of families and is beyond in compliance with federal and state laws. Plaintiff Lindsay Ante received a donation from, not going to say who, of $66,000, deposited into a personal account of Lindsay Licari and was able to be used for herself, and was not a donation to Aiden's Army of Angels. These funds were the monies used to purchase the home. Plaintiff Lindsay Ante did not misappropriate any foundation funds, and this again was another attempt for Bobby to inflict harm on the plaintiff. A week after the loss of Aiden, defendant Bobby Ante began talking about purchasing a home, encouraging the plaintiff to make an investment with the funds she had. The plaintiff Lindsay Ante told defendant Bobby Ante that if they would be purchasing a home, they should be married first. So they both agreed to marry and began to search for the home. Plaintiff Lindsay Ante made it very clear to defendant Bobby Ante that she would spend $50,000 on a home and only pay off one credit card for him, which he confirms in this agreement and statement to Galvar. The plaintiff Lindsay Ante also made it very clear to the defendant Bobby Ante that realtor Linda Na that she would only purchase the home if she would be listed on the title. The realtor Linda Na confirmed her understanding of this, as well as the defendant of Bobby Ante, which is the only reason plaintiff Lindsay Ante agreed to begin the home buying process. Exhibit 4. So, Exhibit 4, and the message from the realtor saying, yes, since you guys are married, you will both be listed on title and you will both sign the title. So, very clear and concise. Very clear. Initially, defendant Bobby Ante was very supportive of the loss of the plaintiff Lindsay Ante's son, Aiden. The defendant Bobby Ante was attending church weekly with the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, and also helping the foundation. On November 20th, 2017, The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, gave defendant Bobby Ante $26,000 cash. This money was to be put in a savings account and not to be used. Exhibit 5. So this is Exhibit 5. And then proof here from underwriting that Bobby's Ante stated that I gave him that money and it was for savings. So this is all explanations of deposits that Bobby filled out himself, stating that, yes, I did give him that money and it was to go into a savings account. The plaintiff was only provided with this form, which again said the money was savings, when it was sent to the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante. Later, the defendant, Bobby Ante, signed it on his own, stating the $26,000 was a gift, in which the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, never signed this form, never gifted this money to the defendant, Bobby Ante. This also proves defendant Bobby Ante did have access to the plaintiff's email and sent many items without her consent of the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante. Exhibit 6. So this is Exhibit 6, and this is now the same documents with only Bobby Ante's signature. Again, only his signature. So I didn't gift him anything. Once the home buying process began, the defendant Bobby Ante began to display differences in character. He was no longer attending church. He would not help at the foundation. He began doing things without the consent of the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante. Defendant Bobby Ante began to use the money the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, asked him to retain in savings to pay his own debts and to qualify himself for a home purchase. On December 29, 2017, defendant Bobby Ante paid off his one Nevada credit card in the amount of $1,342.04 without the consent of the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante. Exhibit 7. Bobby Ante paying off his credit card. Me sending it to my lawyers and showing them all of this. Again, the defendant Bobby Ante used the plaintiff's Lindsay Ante's email account to send information to the lender. Plaintiff Lindsay Ante asked the realtor Linda Na and Bobby Ante to look for homes in North Las Vegas, where the defendant Bobby Ante and plaintiff Lindsay Ante could find a home in our budget. Exhibit 8. So this is Exhibit 8. And again, down here it says, I want to go to North Las Vegas and look at cheaper homes, because they were looking at homes that were way over the budget. This request, like many others, were ignored. The concerns and wishes of the plaintiff were continually discounted. Once the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, and defendant Bobby Ante selected a home, is when the process began to fall apart. At the beginning of escrow, Linda Na asked both of us to come in to provide the earnest money. The plaintiff wrote a check with the belief both defendant and plaintiff would be on the title of the home as explained. So I referred at that point back to Exhibit 4, where Linda Na says, you will both be on title. Plaintiff Lindsay Ante was also instructed by the realtor Linda Na that the closing would occur within 10 days from opening escrow. Exhibit 9. So again, proof of the earnest check and proof that she said we should be closing within 10 days and we would still both be on the title of the house. As the financing began, the realtor Linda Na and the underwriter Drew Levy began to ask defendant to pay multiple items off of his credit report. The plaintiff Lindsay Ante agreed to pay off one credit card and a car and put $50,000 down on the home, only with the stipulation of both parties being listed on the title of the home. The process began to get out of control. Defendant Bobby Ante was paying all his debt with the $26,000 the plaintiff Lindsay Ante believed was still in the savings account, confusing the financing process and requiring multiple gift letters to be signed. Exhibit 10. So this is 10. And Bobby himself saying, Lindsay has signed 3 gift letters. You guys are losing information. So again, his statement that everything went so smoothly and he was so happy, lies. And then again down here, he admits closing didn't occur on time. So he was upset. And then again, Linda Na discounting us, continuing to force the sale of the purchase of this home. Underwriting continually losing documents and asking for duplicate documents. So the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, had signed multiple gift letters at this point, and they were being lost, duplicated, which began to confuse and upset the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante. The last gift letter, the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, simply scribbled her name out of frustration. And the lender again requested a replacement of the gift letter. So I was getting so frustrated with the process that I began scribbling them. So Exhibit 11. And this is the gift letter. So this is the gift letter for the deposit. The gift letter for the earnest deposit. And the gift letter for a car payoff for Bobby Ante. Couldn't pay off his own car. And then here's one that is one of the gift letters sent because my signature was so messy, they made me do it again. But Linda Knott couldn't tell I was frustrated about anything. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, did not even write out the gift letters. They were written out by the defendant, Bobby Ante, and signed by the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante. Realtor Linda Knott contacted the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, to inquire about her last name. The plaintiff explained her name was changed from Lacari to Ante because of marriage, but Linda Knott kept instructing plaintiff to sign as Lacari, Exhibit 12. So this is Exhibit 12. Her asking me about my name, and I'm telling her I changed it, and you can look at the dates way before they forged my name. So she knew that wasn't even my name no more when they forged it. Here goes a marriage certificate, proves we're married, proves we changed my name. So, the plaintiff believed that all paperwork had been submitted, and the lender again kept requesting more items to be paid off. At this point, the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, had had enough and no longer wanted defendant Bobby Ante using any more of her money. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, requested that the realtor, Linda Knott, provide her with information from the underwriter to get the exact information of what was clearing and what was not clearing, because defendant Bobby Ante and the realtor Linda Knott had started talking amongst themselves via text, and she began losing trust in both of them. Exhibit 13. So Exhibit 13. This is on January 15th, the day I canceled, me asking them to send me, what are you guys paying off? Send me what's cleared and what is being required. And then Linda Knott denies me that right and says, oh, the underwriter doesn't talk to anybody. So you can see here, she tells me, can't talk to the underwriter. And I tell her I know that's not true. Linda Knott again ignored my request, denying me ample time to confide in my counsel. Linda Knott began changing the closing date multiple times. Due to this, plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, defendant Bobby Ante, had already given notice at the plaintiff's, Lindsay Ante's, apartment and now had nowhere to live. Realtor Linda Knott then begins to try to convince the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, and defendant Bobby Ante to rent the home from the seller until she can close on the home. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, was furious and made it very clear they were not renting a home, and again wanted to consult with her counsel on her rights. Exhibit 14. Exhibit 14. And me telling Linda Knott I don't want the house, and that we have not closed on time. So then I tell her, here, we're not renting a house. So everything I write, I give them very good evidence of what I'm saying. Finally, Linda Knott informs both the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, and Bobby Ante that she would set them both up for signing of the title as soon as plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, completed another gift letter, still acknowledging that both parties would come to sign the title. Exhibit 15. So this is Exhibit 15. And Linda Knott again saying, you will both come in at 10 a.m. to sign the title. Plaintiff Lindsay Ante no longer trusted Linda Knott nor defendant Bobby Ante and told Linda Knott and Bobby Ante to cancel the sale of the home. Linda Knott acknowledged this in writing, and there was no more communication between Linda Knott and Lindsay Ante at all. Exhibit 16. Exhibit 16. And here. cancel the transaction. So then Linda Noss says, okay, I'll cancel it, sends a CD on the 15th. They closed on the 17th. Nevada law says I need 3 days to review a CD. So even though I canceled, she even closed early because she was breaking the law. That's what she does. So, let's see. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, then left town to attend a funeral for a cancer child. Exhibit 17. So, this is Exhibit 17. Proof I went out of town. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, began arguing with the defendant, Bobby Ante, about the purchase of the home. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, explained to the defendant, Bobby Ante, that the realtor was charging inflated commissions, the home was too expensive, and moving into an apartment was a better choice. The defendant, Bobby Ante, knew the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, didn't want the home. It would not be at the signing upon her return. Exhibit 18. So this is Bobby and Linda talking amongst themselves, clearly knowing that I'm out of town. I did not respond to Linda. I did not tell Bobby he could go buy the house. They knew I was in Washington, D.C., and they continued. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, returned home to find out that the leasing office had already rented her unit, and there was no way they could extend the move out. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, was now faced with homelessness again and had only lost her son weeks prior. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, was again asked by the defendant, Bobby Ante, to continue with the home purchase, only one more duplicate gift letter would need to be signed. Being that the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, did not trust the realtor nor defendant, she agreed to re-sign the last gift letter if defendant Bobby Ante would sign a letter of agreement retracting all gift letters in the event of divorce to avoid being homeless again. Exhibit 19. So it's 19. And this is the letter of agreement I had Bobby sign. Therefore, I wasn't there. I emailed it to him. The realtor, you'll see later in the exhibits, was sitting right next to him when I sent this to him. And you can also see here that he waived his right to community property laws. So, and it also says here too, legal remedies. Should I ever have to take him to court for this, I'm not responsible for the legal fees. So how did I get stuck with $65,000 in legal fees? Crazy. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, still had no additional communication with the realtor at all. The defendant, Bobby Ante, signed the agreement, and the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, sent a photo of the gift letter again, not aware at all that the defendant, Bobby Ante, was already at the signing. The defendant, Bobby Ante, then sends the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, wire instructions stating nowhere on the form that the plaintiff would not be on the title of the home. So this is Exhibit 20. Here goes the wire transfer paperwork. Notice, escrow officer, Nikki Bott. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, then goes to the bank to provide them with the wire instructions and then went to National Title Company with the belief she was going to sign the title. When the plaintiff arrived at National Title Company, a woman came out and took the wire instructions from her, and the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, asked where she was going to sign. The National Title Company responded, nowhere, and instructed plaintiff to contact Linda Naw. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, returned to her office, still not aware of any signing, believing she would have the opportunity to review documents prior to signing. Later that day, plaintiff Lindsay Ante saw that the funds had been wired out of her account, and defendant Bobby Ante returned home that evening with the keys to the home. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, was furious, but still had no knowledge of not being on the title of the home. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, then went to the hotel and asked for a divorce the following day, while the defendant, Bobby Ante, moved himself into the home. Exhibit 21. So this is the day after the home purchase. I asked for an annulment. So you can see here, January 18th, 2018, the day after we close on the home. So why would I give him everything and then the day after say I want an annulment, besides the fact that you guys just stole $62,000 out of my bank account? The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, remained out of the home for a week before returning to the property, but still had no knowledge of not being on this title. The actions of the defendant, Bobby Ante, had caused great troubles between plaintiff Lindsay Ante and the defendant, Bobby Ante. When the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, did not move into the home because of what the defendant had done, the defendant began accusing her of cheating. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, could not keep paying for hotels. The defendant, Bobby Ante, had used every cent the plaintiff had to purchase the home and pay his own debts. So believing that there wasn't anything she could do at this point and had just gotten married, the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, went home but still did not know she was not on the title. The defendant, Bobby Ante, began going through the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante's phone while she was asleep, erasing messages and phone numbers of anyone he felt like was the threat. And the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, had only lost her son 2 months prior. Yet defendant mocked her grief, calling her bipolar, offering no emotional support at all. The defendant, Bobby Ante, accuses her of sleeping with her consultant and threatens to tell his wife, creating unnecessary fires in the plaintiff's business relationships because he was insecure. Exhibit 22. So again, he's telling people I sleep around, that I'm a liar, and my family hates me. And this is 2 months after my son died. And I'm again asking for divorce every month, every day. And he's telling me that I'm just a cheater, that I want to sleep around, that whatever this man can come up with. I then tell him, stop sneaking around in the middle of the night going through my things. So everything I say is proven. Give it all to Rena Hughes. A week after the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, returns home, Bobby Ante has already moved into his friends. That plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, did not know at all. The defendant, Bobby Ante, now let his friends use the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, and had them remain in the home for 2 months without paying any rent. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, explained the discomfort of having people there and the frustration of them not contributing and demanded the defendant, Bobby Ante, to have them leave. The plaintiff also asked that the defendant in this communication if he had obtained a homestead declaration for the home to protect the home from the debts of plaintiff Lindsay Ante. The defendant, Bobby Ante, ignores the question and still hides the fact that plaintiff Lindsay Ante is not on the home. Exhibit 23. Here's Exhibit 23. And this is me asking him about the homestead declaration, about his friends living in my house and they're not paying any money, and him agreeing that they're not paying it. Arguments continue between the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, and defendant, Bobby Ante. When plaintiff finds out via social media that defendant Bobby Ante had just slept with his children's mother, Veronica Yepes, a few weeks prior to the marriage, the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, also finds out that the defendant, Bobby Ante, didn't sign the birth certificate of his son, Kingston Ante. So he had no rights to this child at all. This causes great stress in the marriage because Veronica begins to play mind games with the defendant, using his children to control his actions. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, now becomes stuck in the middle of a custody battle, which the defendant never shared was happening prior to the marriage to the plaintiff. The defendant, Bobby Ante, did not sign the birth certificate of his son, even though Veronica and Kingston lived in the house with him for 4 years. He did this fraudulently to obtain welfare benefits for Veronica and Kingston. Exhibit 24. So, again, this is paperwork from Bobby Ante, now going to court to get on the birth certificates for his children because he had absolutely no rights to his children. So this was all provided to Rena Hughes months prior. And out of the privacy for the children, I'm going to skip a few of these pages. And now, one day while the defendant Bobby Ante was arguing with the plaintiff Lindsay Ante, he told her to move out of the house and he would change the locks. The plaintiff Lindsay Ante explained to the defendant Bobby Ante that it was both of their home and he didn't know the laws, just like not signing the birth certificates of his children. He knew he knew that not signing the birth certificates gave away all his rights to his children, the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, was sure he would have signed them. The defendant responded to the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, stating, "You are dumb. That's why Aiden's dead." The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, then takes her car, and the defendant, Bobby Ante, chases her outside and punches dents in my vehicle. Exhibit 25. Exhibit 25. Him admitting he told me I'm stupid. That's why my son is dead. It was just a heated argument in between two people. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, immediately moved out of the home following this comment. The defendant, Bobby Ante, remained in the home with his friends while the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, went to stay with her mother. The defendant, Bobby Ante, then removed all photos of Aiden off the wall in the plaintiff's home. After about a month, the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, returned to the home again to try to fix the marriage. The defendant, Bobby Ante, then contacts the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, to explain that Veronica had invited them both down there to meet the kids and celebrate the first birthday of Princeton Ante. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, agreed to go, but later Veronica changed her mind, stating that defendant Bobby Ante could come, but could not take the children on his own. She would have to be with them, and the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, could not come. The defendant, Bobby Ante, then takes a trip to Florida, leaves the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, home, and spends a weekend with his family, but without his wife. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, again moves back to her mother's home and again asks for another divorce. Due to all the fighting, the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, becomes very distant from the defendant, Bobby Ante, not talking to him anymore, sleeping in other rooms, and avoiding sexual contact. The defendant, Bobby Ante, fails to acknowledge anything he has done in the fact that the plaintiff is grieving and continues with the accusations and trying to get the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, pregnant. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, makes it very clear to defendant Bobby Ante that she is grieving, and sex and having a child right away wouldn't help the process. The defendant, Bobby Ante, saw having a child as a meal ticket. Since the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, had gained so much popularity on social media and was forcing himself on the plaintiff, ignoring her current state of mind, and that her body was physically breaking down. Exhibit 26. So I'm telling him, I'm grieving. I don't want to have sex. Well, we better get you to a doctor and make sure we can get you pregnant. Here's Bobby Ante punching my car, running out, following me, and punching my car. Here's me telling him, I'm going to get birth control. You're not an honest person. You're not a good person. And he goes back and forth about, why would you do that? If you love me, you wouldn't get birth control, because the whole point was just get me pregnant. And then, again, trying to explain my grief to him, where he begins attacking me again and telling me he hopes that the next guy is a little bigger than him. Unfortunately, I hope it was too. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, tried several times to explain the grieving process to the defendant, Bobby Ante, even suggesting that he join her in counseling, which he never did. The defendant, Bobby Ante, continued to snoop through the defendant's phone, office, belongings, searching for clues of cheating that was not happening. The defendant, Bobby Ante, became impossible to be around, constantly changing how he felt, 1 minute accusing the plaintiff, and the next telling her he loved her. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, tried several times to explain her feelings and the changes that needed to happen. Exhibit 27. So here's Exhibit 27. I then looked up how people grieve so he could see. It's not just me telling you this. This is normal what I'm going through. And then he says, at the bottom, I tell him, let's go see a therapist. Maybe they can help you understand what I'm going through. I then tell him, you want to know what makes me happy? My foundation and growing my foundation. So if you want us to be on a good page, pretend like you care about my work. Then I tell him things that need to happen for me to stay with you. So I tell him again, no plans or decisions to be made with Veronica until you talk to me. It says right here. Veronica isn't welcome in our home, and you got to make a place to meet to exchange your children. We do not buy anything unless we both agree. I want to go on a date once a week. Our business remains our business. No social media. Don't tell your mom or your baby mama my business. I need you to put my feelings before anybody else's. Stay out of Aiden's room and stop showing my son's toys to your kids and telling them they belong to them. Stop putting me down. Be romantic. Stop coming in the house and changing the channel when I'm watching TV. Help with the foundation. Stop watching me do everything. Stop going through my things. Don't ever accuse me of cheating again. So I write the evidence and I gave it to him. So the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, did seek counseling prior to the death of her son and still attends counseling through Candlelighters Childhood Cancer Foundation, in which the defendant, Bobby Ante, never attended. Physically, the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, was breaking down, losing her hair, covered in hives, and had taken 2 trips to the ER. Yet defendant Bobby Ante was still focused on just getting the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, pregnant. Exhibit 28. So you can see my body physically began breaking down. My whole body broke out in hives. You can see the hives all over my hands. My hair was falling out. I had bald spots everywhere. And more hives on the front of my legs. Once the defendant Bobby Ante's child support was enforced, he could no longer afford the home plaintiff Lindsay Ante told him not to buy. The defendant Bobby Ante began to harass the plaintiff Lindsay Ante, saying that she could move out if she couldn't continue to give him more money, not acknowledging the fact that it was her $98,000 that attained the home and he had done it against her will. The defendant Bobby Ante began taunting plaintiff Lindsay Ante when in fact he was the one who spent the savings. He was the one who lied to obtain a home he could not afford. Exhibit 29. So again, here's Bobby Ante telling me, you've done nothing since January money-wise. You mean to tell me you have $400K and lost it all in 3 months, you silly rabbit? I told you spending habits were crazy. You've been fake. Keep faking it till you make it, is what Bobby had to say. These claims, amongst many others, are lies of defendant Bobby Ante to again cover up what he had done. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, made several contributions to the home moving there, even though she spent most of her time at her mother's home. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, also made child support payments to Veronica on the behalf of the defendant Bobby Ante with several transfers. The defendant Bobby Ante has never made neither a transfer nor a financial contribution to plaintiff Lindsay Ante at all, but continued to ask her to pay additional debts for him even after the closing of the home. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, again asked the defendant Bobby Ante to produce his financial information to show her where all this money had gone. Exhibit 30. So this is Exhibit 30. These are multiple transfers I made to pay for the home. So, and don't have to worry about it because my account numbers changed, so it's fine. So this one also, payments for the home. Oh wait, no, this one was his child support. So this was sent to Veronica Yepes to pay his child support on November 10th. So 7 days after my son passes away, I'm helping this man pay child support. Then it says, I asked him to show me his credit card statement since November because I had no idea what he's done with my money. And he says, what for and why? Only Bank of America has been used, and I haven't used my Citibank in years, just paying it down. The American Express has about $700 on it. So this was the most I ever saw of what he did with my money, this text message. I then send him $1,000 because he said I don't contribute to the home. And he shows me here. Thank you. I'll make a credit card payment with it. But let him tell the story. I contributed nothing. After 2 months of paying nothing, defendant Bobby Ante finally makes his friends leave. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, then asks the defendant to allow Cancer family to stay in the home to help them get on their feet. The defendant, Bobby Ante, agrees, and the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, allows the family of 6 to move in. After 2 months, the Cancer mom and boyfriend have shown that their focus is not the children, and they have no intentions on working. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, begins to spend less time at home and more time at the gym and in her office, and this becomes a daily routine. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, and defendant Bobby Ante agree together that this isn't helping them and putting their home at risk, so they needed to leave. The defendant also acknowledges that the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, is consumed in her work and giving more than she has, but later begins slandering plaintiff, Lindsay Ante. Exhibit 31. So, this is a message from Bobby Ante. So if someone that only wakes up, goes to the gym with barely sees you at the gym, then goes home for a shower, then goes to work, get off from work, goes home around 9, sees you for an hour, then goes to bed, is making you worse. That's crazy. I barely see you. And they said, this is about the families. Those are your buddies that are taking advantage of you. They sleep when I leave. So he acknowledges everything that I say. They leave that baby sitting everywhere alone. But this is the Cancer family that is now backing Bobby and saying he was such a great guy. But he was telling me they needed to leave. They don't watch their kids. And he said they're not going to do anything to get themselves in a better situation, especially without a car. They're just sitting ducks now, is how he felt about this family. The Cancer family and the defendant Bobby Ante did not get along nor had any interaction until June 26th, the day I found out I wasn't on the house. Exhibit 32. So this is the Cancer family, and this is the message. Aaron doesn't want to work in a casino. He wants to make more, and if they call him, and Aaron calls on his application every day. He even told Bobby that too. So again, I'm not sure who is telling you that he isn't looking for work. Aaron is a good man and trying. So Bobby was the one telling me he wasn't going to work. But all of a sudden they became best friends the moment I found out that I wasn't on my own house. In June, the plaintiff Lindsay Ante's foundation started to struggle financially. The plaintiff Lindsay Ante went to defendant Bobby Ante and again asked about my money and savings. The defendant Bobby Ante said she had spent it all, but he would never provide accountings of statements to show this. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, then decided to sell her car and put that money into the foundation. The defendant, Bobby Ante, had been driving the plaintiff's car since November and never contributed anything towards the cost of the cars. Plaintiff Lindsay Ante asked defendant Bobby Ante to finance a new car for the plaintiff Lindsay Ante to allow her to sell her current car and keep the resources coming to the families she served. Also, because the plaintiff had paid $4,060 to pay off the loan for the defendant. The defendant agreed. They both went and first sold the plaintiff Lindsay Ante's car for $11,000 to CarMax. Then the defendant Bobby Ante immediately went and purchased the car for plaintiff Lindsay Ante and agreed to pay the payments for the loan. He admitted all of this in an audio transcript that because I am not affectionate enough, he is now taking the car back, leaving the plaintiff Lindsay Ante with no car, watching her walk miles to get around. The defendant Bobby Ante then later lies to the court in his statement that the car was purchased to get him around. Exhibit 33. So this is the transcribed call. So it's another audio file that I have, and it's a transcribed call that confirms everything. So it says, I sold the car, and so it says husband, wife. Sold your car, wife, okay. Husband, have to have more money. Wife, why do you think I would have sold the car had you not bought me another car? Husband, you sold the car for money and then picked up. Wife, well, I did sell when did I sell the car? Husband, the payments on the new car. Wife, when did I sell the car? Husband, the same day. Wife, but after? Husband, the same day I bought the new car. After you bought me a new car. Husband, oh, the same day you sold it. Right. Wife, so what did we do first when we got me the new car first? And then you went and sold your car. And then 2 days later, what did you do? You took the car back. So it was transcribed, the whole conversation of exactly what happened. After defendant Bobby Ante had now taken the car, left the plaintiff Lindsay Ante stranded, the plaintiff Lindsay Ante went to her office and began to look into why the defendant Bobby Ante had felt he had so much power to continue to remove her from the home, and now took away her only means of transportation after he had selfishly used hers for months. The plaintiff Lindsay Ante decided to look up the home for the first time, and she saw she was not on the title. Exhibit 34. So you can see here in the upper corner that I looked it up on June 26, 2018. The very same day I filed for divorce. Immediately after finding out plaintiff Lindsay Ante filed for divorce and went to her mother's home again. Defendant Bobby Ante and the Cancer family remained in the home. The sheriff was sent to the home to serve defendant Bobby Ante, where his car was in the driveway, and avoided service by not opening the door. The plaintiff Lindsay Ante then told defendant Bobby Ante to have the Cancer family leave so she could come home and retrieve her belongings. Exhibit 35. And it says here, please arrange a time so no one's in my house so I can move my things out safely. Would you like to go in and see my divorce lawyer before we go to court? He wants both of us to come in and settle this out of court. Shumway Van, Linda Na's lawyer. I got a call from someone trying to serve me papers. If you would like to do this out of court, we can sit down with this attorney and get this fixed. So from the very beginning, he went to Linda Na's attorneys and were trying to deprive me of justice. He allowed them to now help him slander and torment the plaintiff Lindsay Ante. The family began to torment the plaintiff Lindsay Ante, removing furniture that belonged to Aiden, putting it in the garage, telling her that it was the defendant's home and for me to leave. They began slandering plaintiff Lindsay Ante on social media, but were still in her home with the defendant Bobby Ante. Exhibit 36. So Exhibit 36. This is the social media posting where she's saying this Cancer family now is that. Let's see. Sammy says Bobby's awesome, but Lindsay is very weird. This bitch and her friend June came here at 1:30 screaming, yelling. Lindsay hit Bobby in the face, and her friend was screaming and yelling at us and saying stuff out by the first or else. So this is the Cancer family who just a few pages ago didn't even know Bobby or like him, but now because he was permitting them to stay in the home, had no problem bashing me. Both the Cancer family and defendant began to ruin the home and destroy the plaintiff Lindsay Ante's and Aiden's belongings, removing furniture from the rooms. Exhibit 37. This is the Cancer family in my house, destroying my house, because when I gave him this room, there was a bed, there was curtains. This is how Bobby Ante and the Cancer family were living in my house, drinking beers, destroying my property. This is the Cancer family in my son's room, sleeping in his bed, but I was using them. This is the disaster they would leave in my bathrooms. Defendant Bobby Ante then took the plaintiff Lindsay Ante's things to a storage and threw the things in there like trash, ruining her furniture and many of the things that belonged to Aiden. Exhibit 38. This is proof of damage of all of my property. He destroyed my furniture. This is how he threw me and Aiden's things in the storage. Destroyed half of our stuff. Things I can't replace with my son. This is what he did. This shows the furniture prior to the defendant Bobby Ante putting it into the storage. Exhibit 39. This is how my house looked. This is how I kept it. Very clean and very nice. But he destroyed all of it. He then says, and notice the date, I just don't have the date on it, but he then says, keep this going. It's not good for your foundation. So in June, I already started beginning the attacks on my work. This is a police event report from that day. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, went to the home to confront defendant Bobby Ante, in which he wasn't home. Only the Cancer family was there. The Cancer family told plaintiff Lindsay Ante to leave and began taunting her, using her son Aiden to make hurtful comments. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, asked the Cancer family how they could do this after she opened up the home to them and again responded, it wasn't her home, it's the defendant's home. I didn't pay anything and defendant Bobby Ante told me to leave. The boyfriend then proceeded to push plaintiff Lindsay Ante out of the way and elbowed her in the face. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, immediately contacts defendant Bobby Ante at work and tells him of the events that just occurred and files a police report, Exhibit 39. So that was this one that you saw, the police report. The defendant, Bobby Ante, arrived at home at 9 p.m. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, was at the home with her mother and a friend to help her get her things. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, asked defendant to please explain his actions, which was recorded with the knowledge of both parties. So that was the call everybody's heard. The defendant, Bobby Ante, states he didn't know the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, wasn't on the title, that he started all the problems due to a lack of affection from plaintiff, Lindsay Ante. The defendant admits to going to the signing by himself without the knowledge of the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante. The defendant admits to reaching out to several of the plaintiff's friends and family, spreading slander to protect his name. The defendant also states that had the plaintiff been able to be on financing, they could have got a better home. And again, showing how ungrateful and entitled the defendant, Bobby Ante, is. The defendant admits to letting the Cancer family stay in spite of plaintiff Lindsay Ante, allowing them to abuse the plaintiff's right in front of him, Exhibit 40. So Exhibit 40. And you guys all heard the call. So for the judge, I transcribed it. I paid to have somebody transcribe the call so that she could see everything that he was doing. And it also admits several times that I was not at the closing, I was not at the signing, that he didn't know I wasn't on the title. So it's all in the transcribed call. And this was uploaded. So if you guys want to check out the call, it's all on my page. This was the last in-person conversation between defendant Bobby Ante and Lindsay Ante. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, made one post on social media, Exhibit 41. So this is Exhibit 41. And this is what I posted on social media. That sometimes it's the very people who no one imagines anything of who would do the things that no one can imagine. Not mentioning any names, but did post a screenshot from defendant Bobby Ante that read, "Wait until the judge tells you what a gift letter is. You ain't on any deed. I called the mortgage company and you're not on the deed." The defendant Bobby Ante states he saved the plaintiff Lindsay Ante from having nothing by deciding to make the purchase against her will. Exhibit 42. So it says, since you're done with me, you're going to have to pay half the bills in this house until it's sold. I'll let the judge explain to you what a gift letter is. So let him tell him right here, great, goodbye. I called the mortgage company. You're not on any deed. But let him tell the story. They explained this all to me. And then he says, it's spent like crazy. That's not my fault. I saved you from ending up with nothing. You had over 200K, right? That's your fault. You don't have any money. So again, he admits it was his choice to do this. The defendant, Bobby Ante, continues to claim he knew nothing about the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, not being on title, claiming that the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, didn't want to come, that she was in her office working and alone decided to continue the purchase. Later in the defendant Bobby Ante's statement to Galvar and Nevada Real Estate Board on behalf of realtor Linda Naw, he contradicts this statement and lies and says the plaintiff Lindsay Ante was at her apartment where the defendant Bobby Ante and realtor said they sent the notary. Exhibit 43. And Bobby Ante states, I was told you could have went in and signed a claim to get on it, no problem. Never tried to hide anything or take the house from you. Makes no sense. I married you and didn't plan on leaving you, but hey, life goes on. I told you last month I called Wells Fargo to ask them if you were on the deed. I didn't know I have the text. But now, let him tell the story. I knew the whole time. He told me the whole time. I told him again. I told you not to buy this house. House or apartment, it's all the same. No, it's actually a very big difference. Then again here, I signed so many docs I didn't even realize. She was at the office when she went to sign for the home since she wasn't on the papers. It didn't matter to me. I didn't have no intention on ever leaving her, and we were told she could come claim and get on it later. Lindsay, regardless, is going to get whatever the judge says. We both invested a lot. I'm not a slouch, and I didn't want what she had. Biggest crock of shit. So again here, he says, July 1st, 2018. He says, I didn't know you weren't on any deed. I was told you could have came down and signed it later. So clearly saying that Linda not lied to him. You keep talking about a deed. I wanted you to be on the loan as ownership as I was. This was meant to be a future for our family. And again, didn't know you weren't on the deed, and it doesn't matter. You're going to get what's coming to you, deed or no deed. Well, as of right now, they've stolen everything from me. The defendant, Bobby Ante, begins to try to make a deal with the plaintiff about the home, still trying to get more money out of the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, Exhibit 44. Where he then says on here, I don't want to do all this court bullshit. I will just sell the house, list as high as possible, and give you 80% of the house in the check if that's okay. So not only did you forge my name and close without my knowledge, you still want more money. The defendant, Bobby Ante, then begins to contact friends of plaintiff, trying to destroy her relationships, turn her friends and family against her, again admitting that the plaintiff knew nothing about not being on title of the home. He tells Diane Hawkins that the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, begged him to marry her, and again proving that he didn't love her and his motive was financial gain. Exhibit 45. So this is a text message he's sending to my friends. And if anything, I got set up with all this bullshit. I was fine before this. So my friend tells him, you did get set up in a house in your name, a car in your name, a credit paid off, and sounds pretty set up to fail. I did this as a married couple. I didn't want to do this as an individual. I had no plans on divorce or leaving her until now. So they continue the conversation, and he says, she's lying and assisting I don't even know, assassinating, I think is what he meant. He's not the smartest cookie in the box. My character is saying I stole money and I didn't. And my friend says, well, she said she spent over $75,000 between the house, car, and wedding. And he says, I would never do that to her. People are sending me and my kids death threats from all over the country. This isn't cool with me. So again, doesn't even acknowledge anything. So here goes another message where he's saying, still talking to my friend, I don't have any issues with child support. I get $630 taken out of my checks automatically. I'm trying to get custody. That's why we're going through a custody battle. The money is already taken out of my checks. So why is that not on any loan paperwork? Because they committed fraud. But he's admitting it here that he had open litigation. He only made $14 an hour. And with them taking $630 out of his check, he couldn't afford to buy a house. So again, he says, I wanted Lindsay on the house. She couldn't be on the house because her credit was ruined. Nobody ever ran my credit, and I have perfectly fine credit. So the mortgage company told us from jump she could not be on the loan. So first of all, no one ran my credit, so the mortgage company couldn't say that. Second, you don't have to have good credit to be on a title of a home. Anybody can be on the title of the home as long as it's done at the time of purchase. They told us we could only use my name and didn't qualify for a huge amount. So we paid off some of my debt for us to qualify, then dropped the down payment. But you notice how he says us to qualify, but then it just had him on the house. And no, I never said he could pay his debts off. Otherwise, I would have paid my own debts and put myself on the house. but that was never my intentions to use this money to pay off my debts. So these are all just more text messages and all this from Bobby and her, and it just, I don't even want to read it. But again, he says she's not loyal to anyone. Her whole family hates her. So he's trying to go over and over things, trying to get my friend to hate me. And then she knew all the money would be gone if she fixed her own credit. She was $80K in debt. She would have gotten nothing out of it. I'm not $80K in debt. He's a liar. He just says whatever he wants. So this was not the first time defendant Bobby Ante reached out to the friends of the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, trying to convince them all that she needed help mentally, but was only trying to hide what he had done. Once the house was in his name, he had no use for plaintiff Lindsay Ante and was doing everything in his power to hurt the plaintiff and close her foundation. Exhibit 46. So now this is Bobby contacting another one of my friends. So I guess his angle now was to try to make me mentally insane, so then as my husband, he could take over. So please talk to Lindsay. I'm super worried about her. She's having a really hard time now, and I've never seen her or act the way she's doing. I love Lindsay with all my heart, but she's scaring me and needs help badly. This is on January 22nd, 2018. So right after he bought the house, he's now telling my friends that he's fearful for my mental health, but then writes in his statement that I was completely fine and I was on board and knew nothing about this. So this is more information about him contacting my friends and and he says here on the January 23rd of 2018, she won't even talk to me. So even after he got that house, I didn't move in. I didn't even speak to him. So when he realized I wasn't going to talk to him, he starts, I'm canceling the lease on your office. I'm going to close down the office. This is from my office saying, hey, we got a move out notice. So this was right after I found out that I wasn't on the house, that now he's trying to close the foundation and move me out. This is another message from Bobby. The fact that we were married plus you sign off on the money for the home buying process means we spent the money, not I. The lawyers also said they might go into your finances and see that you got money for another reason and spent it on the home, which could be considered fraud. My lawyers told me this. So his lawyers that committed legal malpractice, Shumway Van, that's also Linda Na's lawyers, the same lawyers that are harassing me every single day, that's who he's talking about. So then he says, I did fight for you. I do believe in you and your foundation. I see how hard you work and the great work you've done. Please don't hold your foundation's success over my head. I've been on the ground with you mostly every step of the way. My schedule prevents me from spending more time and indulging like I would want. I'm at my job, working, holding our house down, making sure we have a roof and insurance. Nobody said it was going to be easy. Just don't give up. So he's saying, I do a great job. I'm a great person. I'm consumed in my work. But now he has a whole nother story for it because he needs to cover up his fraud. When the defendant Bobby Ante realized the marriage was not fixable and plaintiff Lindsay Ante was upset about not being on the title of home, he took to social media to slander the plaintiff Lindsay Ante and her foundation and Aiden's Army of Angels, contradicting his previous statements that the plaintiff Lindsay Ante works all day, gives too much money to the foundation, now stating that the plaintiff Lindsay Ante was now abusing her foundation and the realtor would be contacting the feds. The defendant Bobby Ante also stated that plaintiff Lindsay Ante that he would be selling the home and he would be calling Linda Na to list it. He then contacts Linda Na, where she refers him to Shumway Van, who is also representing realtor Linda Na against plaintiff Lindsay Ante. The defendant then begins to paint the home and prepare to sell the home against the plaintiff's will with Linda Na. Exhibit 47. Exhibit 47. So here, until the house sells, you need to pay a portion of the utilities, and I'm calling Linda to list this house. So who gets a divorce and needs to call the realtor? Only the ones that commit crimes. So, the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, just wants peace, offers a quick resolution to defendant Bobby Ante, in which he turns down. The defendant Bobby Ante then mocks the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, due to her inability to conceive during the marriage. The fact that he likes Latin women and not black women, and boasting of the gaining popularity through plaintiff Lindsay Ante's social media platform, showing no remorse at all for what he has done. The defendant Bobby Ante did all this on the birthday of the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, Exhibit 48. So here goes emails to Bobby, and you can see here, I hope they don't want kids because you can't have any. Laugh out loud. I can't wait to be free and single. Thank you for putting my name out there. Now all the girls want to date me. Let's see. Right. Only because we said we were both signing the title, just as we said the whole time. I'm so glad that you're showing you were on board with buying the home. We can sit down with the realtor and an attorney and figure this out. No need for the insults. I will be just fine and happy with or without you. It's just as simple. Facts on facts. Take your 100% and run. I don't want anything out of this but my freedom. Women are no issue. And a lot of your followers are messaging me on Instagram to replace you already. Then he goes on again. This is on my birthday, July 4th, 2018. There's nothing to expose. The mortgage company told us we had to pay off those bills, and that's it. It wasn't my idea to get my bills paid off. We had to do it in order to get the house. This was going to be real simple. You're going to get the mortgage company and Linda involved, and they know the truth. You haven't done anything but drop the down payment. You don't pay no bills in this house. You're not responsible for anything because your name ain't on anything. You made your whole 18 years about a foundation in a house. So this was the monster I was living with. So he says then, on my birthday, go apply for a home loan and see if you can get one. Then he says, this is the only compromise. This is what I told him. I said, this is the only compromise. So I did try to, before I even knew I was a victim of mortgage fraud, I tried to just end it. You sell the house to me for $206. I keep the equity in the home, and I keep the home my son bought, and you walk away with what I paid off for you, and I will not enforce the $75K. We don't have to go to court. This is your only option besides court. Then I will enforce everything and prove everything to the judge. So it's all here. Again, I didn't even realize how much of a pig you were. This is the day before my birthday. And he says, I don't chase him. I replace him. And then he says, I'm loved in Florida. I should have stayed there. Women are the least of my issues. Those Latin women love me down there. I need to be where I'm loved, and you're a lost cause. So again, he didn't like black women. He likes Latin women. But I had a lot of money. So why not pretend? So I then tell him, I have proof on July 3rd of you turning people against me, of leading to my assault. I have proof that you knew I didn't sign the deed and hid it from me. I have proof of every bill paid off and transfer I made. I have photos of your deposits of the $26K. So I'm telling him all this evidence you guys are seeing, that I have all this. And he goes on to say, I don't owe you anything. We were married. How about I just give you the entire check and call it a day? Again, July 3rd. So initially, Bobby just wanted to give me what was mine and leave, until he got with Linda Nah. So now, in an effort to get anyone to side with defendant Bobby Ante, he reached out to the half-sister of plaintiff Lindsay Ante, who she had cut out of her life at Aiden's funeral. Keisha Gibbs, the half-sister of plaintiff Lindsay Ante, lost her apartment and job in June of 2017. The plaintiff Lindsay Ante was still fighting for her son, and her son Aiden, and Keisha needed a place to stay for 3 days. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, agreed and let Keisha move in Aiden's room. The defendant, Bobby Ante, and Keisha do not even know each other at all and had no interactions. Aiden was terminal now, and the plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, began to fight to save Aiden, and Keisha was only at the home because she was homeless, and the plaintiff, again, was trying to help even through her own child dying. So the plaintiff was trying to help even through her own child dying, Exhibit 49. It says here, And again, me explaining to my sister that I need my own space. However, I intend on staying only a month, and you asked me on your patio to stay and we can build the foundation since the agencies pay the rent. And I'm telling her up here, to be completely honest, I need my own space. When you asked to stay, you asked to stay for a few days, which has turned into months. I have spent over $70,000 in a month and I don't even know how. I have no privacy. I'm at my breaking point. There is no reason why we need to live in the same house now that we are no longer leaving anywhere. Aiden needs his room and I need space. I hope you can understand how I feel and not take this personally. We are both grown and we both are entitled to live in our own places. And she then goes on to tell me that she helped me build my foundation. And she said, help. Wow, this is okay. Whatever makes you happy. So she agrees to go. So I tell her, I told you in Arizona that I wanted space. I told you in Arizona that when we got back to Vegas, I wanted separate places. I got your car back. I've given you over $5,000 I got your laptop. I have done more than enough and we can work on the foundation from separate houses. I am not blaming anyone. I have every right to want to live alone and I shouldn't feel bad for saying it. Do you have to leave today? No, but first, there is no reason why you can't get your own place. This is about Aiden and this is his journey and his shit is sitting in the garage and all over my room and this isn't right to me. I just gave you $3,000 and that is plenty of money to go get your own place. So then she goes on to say, you did not, Lindsay. You told me to wait until Pop is better. Those were your exact words in your room when I asked you and none of your stuff was even here. I would have gotten somewhere. The day we came to this apartment, you asked specifically for this reason and you said no. Yeah, after you started snapping and I wanted to avoid your drama. Simple and clear, I want my own place. Not you or my mom, nobody. I am an adult and I have every right to feel this way. You are looking at this from only Keisha views, so yeah, poor you. But what about the months of what I've been doing for you? But I see now you feel like you're owed all of this. Sad part is many people told me I was setting myself up for this and always give you the benefit of doubt. And she says, all of a sudden you're dumping me like this. And I said, I did. And you said, you're throwing me out. Your exact words turned everything into a fight. And she said, no, I didn't. I should look for my own place. And I said, if you had $1,200 when you lost your place, you would have had no problem getting another one. Yet now it's not enough money. You want more money, fine. But just know this is it until I have a stable foundation. I am saying clearly, I want my own house. And if that means you won't help anymore, then that's your own choice. I love you, Keisha, but we have made this happen together. But I will not live with anyone anymore. I just had enough. So I'm begging them to give me my own space while my son is dying. Keisha then showed up to Aiden's service drunk and high off cocaine and proceeded to get into a fight. The plaintiff Lindsay Ante and defendant Bobby Ante saw this fight, and that day the plaintiff Lindsay Ante decided to cut Keisha out of her life. Keisha did not even know the plaintiff had done this. The plaintiff simply began ignoring her calls and messages. Keisha had no issue with the plaintiff until she realized plaintiff Lindsay Ante was done giving her handouts. Exhibit 51. So, again, this is me talking to my sister, October 24th, prior to my son passing. And I'm telling her, I'm working on a payroll system. I'm going to start this as a part-time until we can go full force. What do you want to be the pay frequency to be? Weekly, bi-weekly, monthly? All I asked was for you to get a place. If that means you are going to keep flaking like you have done for 3 days and not helping with, that's fine. Just let me know and I'll leave you alone. But this foundation is important to me and I will get it done either way. So either way is fine. I'm looking for a job in a place. So she didn't have time. Now that I was done giving her handouts, now she couldn't stay in my house. She no longer had time prior to my son passing to even be around. She wasn't even there the last week or two of his life. So I will pay you $1,000 a month. After taxes, it's about $200 a week for part-time nights. If that's not something you want to do, I get it. But I have a million things going on. Why you going through a pity party, and I'm doing this all by myself. With Aiden, which is fine. But really, it takes one day to get a place here. And if you needed help, why not ask rather than play silent games? Pity party. Okay, Lindsay, if I could have gotten one in one day, I would have done it already. But yeah, Lindsay, you got it. So I would have helped you, but instead of you taking everything like a personal attack, and it's not. I also need the paperwork to go down to register the business. Because at this time, October 28th, we still weren't even officially a foundation. I was still doing paperwork. So she says on October 28th, hey, so I just got a place waiting on rental history verification to come back now. Says I'm basically approved, but it won't be ready until the 3rd. So she's going to have to try to push maintenance to have it ready by the 1st. So I'll have everything out by the 3rd, no matter what. So is it still okay if I get that couch? Yes, that's great. Of course, you can have the couch and the kitchen set too. That's in the house. Also, we get time, everything I have double. You can take that too. Thank you, and I appreciate it. Keisha then showed up. Well, that was 50. So Keisha then showed up to Aiden's service, drunk and high off cocaine, and proceeded to get in the fight. So this is Exhibit 51. So after Aiden's passing, you can see this is on November 15th. She says, what's going on with your agenda? Want to see what's going on with you guys. Good morning, checking on you. We need to start and come get the TV. And I then tell her on November 19th, I'll have someone drop it off. So she didn't know I was upset. She didn't know anything. She thought everything was fine. It wasn't until she realized that I knew things that transpired and I wasn't just going to let this keep going. So the defendant, Bobby Ante, who did not know Keisha at all, then reached out to her via social media to publicly slander plaintiff Lindsay Ante and her foundation, leading to several people slandering the plaintiff Lindsay Ante. The defendant, Bobby Ante, again admits in these messages that plaintiff Lindsay Ante did not know she was on title of the home. And defendant states that he didn't even know the plaintiff Lindsay Ante wasn't on the title, Exhibit 52. So this is Bobby Ante on social media, admitting to people he didn't know that I wasn't on the title. And then this is Keisha down here talking about Bobby Ante is a phenomenal man. She don't even know him. And then here goes Keisha again, whole message of more slander that leave this man alone. He's going through enough that some of us are literally still torn in pieces about losing Aiden. Bullshit. All bullshit. More slander. His brother, I'm her blood sister, and I know he's not lying, and it's sad people believe anything this whole time, misled and swindled by thousands. But you just saw the message is that I just showed you, that her only intention was she wanted more money. Nothing was ever good enough for her. So the truth, like death threats for what? The truth is all coming out. So I'm glad the truth is now finally all coming out. So this is over and over again. So more messages from Bobby, more slander all over social media. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, then reaches out to the aunt of Keisha Gibbs and herself asking why Keisha would hurt her in this way. And the mutual aunt again confirms Keisha and the defendant have taken advantage of her kindness. 53. So this is my aunt, the aunt I share with Keisha. And I then again tell her, I have been so good to Keisha since I met her in Trey at 19. I never asked her for anything. I never took anything from her. I tried to paint her in a light that made her a better person. I gave her over $15,000 and she was only at my house because she was evicted. I got her car back and she still has my company laptop that she won't return. So why would she do this? Why would she do this to me? But not just me, but the memory of my son. She's evil. My aunt then answers and says, I can't tell you that when some people see an opportunity to take advantage of a situation, they will. So just be careful of who you open yourself up to. Take the time to prove a person, no matter who they are, before allowing them to access all of you and who you are. And no one will ever destroy Aiden's memory. He did, and still impacting lives of many. Again, June 30th, right after I had found out on June 26th what happened. So, and this man then goes to Keisha because she's disgruntled. She's mad because she's not getting anything. And they, again, slander me. The plaintiff, Lindsay Ante, then, after a year of not speaking to Keisha, asked her why she would lie and try to ruin Aiden's foundation. She then denies the involvement and acknowledged that she won't return any property of the plaintiff's foundation. And again proves that defendant Bobby Ante and Keisha Gibbs didn't know each other at all. The statements provided by Linda Na and defendant Bobby Ante, there are several inconsistencies. I want to make sure that I didn't skip a page. There is one page missing here. But, okay, so 54. So exhibit 54. And this is Keisha. And you are, this is a message I sent to my sister, and I say, you are a sick person. I see why your life has been the way that it is. We can handle this in court. I have had enough of you and your lies, and you and Bobby don't even know each other, which again, I can prove. I can't believe you're the disgusting person you have become, and I will pray God helps you somehow. If you choose to continue to file a case, I will file a case for slander because I've saved everything and I've done nothing wrong. You are sick and evil, and I regret letting you near my son. This is written notice that if you continue slander, I am going to file a lawsuit. So Keisha responds, file your lawsuits. The courts will definitely find me. Guess we all have the proof, so I'm not worried now. Don't contact me again. And if you and your husband stay off my phone. As I told him, I could care less. Now don't contact me again. Do what you want. I could care less. So she admits she don't even know him. So I tell her, then give me your address so I can file the lawsuit. She doesn't want to give me the address. So then I again tell her, return the laptop. It belongs to my company, and I will follow the process to make sure she's held accountable. She says to me then, girl, miss me. All I can say and do what the fuck I want. That's my nephew, and your sick, twisted ass can't make me do shit, period. Now you and your husband stay the fuck off my phone. My 3-year-old niece just passed away, and I don't know what the fuck y'all got going on. But like I told you, I could care less about what you or him or anyone else is going on, period. So again, she admits she didn't even know that guy. She didn't know him. And it was just all a bunch of conspiracy to slander me. And there goes his brother. You're a piece of shit. I'm willing to bet you never met Lindsay. Personally, you read some fake news on the internet and ran with it. So his brother begins slandering me. So then again, he goes on social media. She ran into CarMax the same day I bought us a new car, and she sold her car for $11K. Now I'm making payments, and she pockets $11K for herself. Wasn't a big deal for me. I was in it for the marriage. Well, we can tell by previous messages and everything that I've shown you guys, I sold the car to keep my foundation open because he stole my money. So yeah, I did sell my car because I care about my work that much. So again, he just goes on talking about slandering. He's being hurt so bad, and people are slandering him, and he didn't use me for money, but he obviously did. So then he admits on social media again that I signed so many documents I didn't even realize. She was at the office when went to sign for the home. Since she wasn't on the papers, it didn't matter to me. I had no intention on ever leaving her. And we were told she could do a claim to get on it later. Lindsay, regardless, is going to get whatever the judge says. We both have invested a lot. So then he again admits, I wasn't at the title company. So here goes more messages from Bobby all over social media. So it again proves all the slander, not just by Bobby, my own sister, his brother. But then here goes Bobby again. don't get me wrong, she does a great job, but it's just not being honest about all in me. I've been there, and she's very frustrated with this because they were supposed to take off and still can't get any big donors to come in, blaming me for something we both agreed on, marriage, family, and people are so blinded and ignorant, making it seem investing into a home is dumb. Well, it's dumb when you decide to do it with your wife and you go end up doing it by yourself without your wife, but with her money. So again, this is all just slander all over social media, where his friends say, oh, you shouldn't have ate the spaghetti, like sickening things. And again, you don't have to shit on other people to be yourself. So that was his whole plot from the moment I found out, was attack my foundation, attack my son, and attack my work. That was a great idea for him. So again, we go to 56. And then this is when on 56, I find out on June 26th, you can see right here, I text realtor Linda Naw. And I say, I see you and Bobby bought this house without me on the deed while we were married, without my knowledge and my money. And I'll be reporting this and filing a lawsuit. She then says, I did not buy a home with Bobby without your knowledge, Bobby, and you purchased a home, and you can send my legal correspondence to my address and the broker, and he will respond accordingly. So why, when I told her on June 26th, why am I not on deed, why didn't she say, oh, we talked to you about this, girl, why you don't know? No. She said, oh, call my broker. Who cares? And that's who's been protecting her for 3 years, this broker. Jeff Moore has paid legal fees for Linda, has paid legal fees for Bobby. He's the one who retained Shumway Van, and Shumway Van is protecting him. So again, I tell her, I'm going to get a lawyer. So once I get a lawyer, I then begin filing complaints. So this is the complaint I filed to Galvar. And in Galvar, they then had them send respondent docs back to me. And when I got the respondent docs, this is where I first learned of the fraud. So let's see. Exhibit 57, respondent docs. When I filed a complaint against Linda Naw, it got sent to Galvar. When it got to Galvar, Linda Naw had to respond. So when she responds, she sends all this paperwork. And look at the date, 11/20/18. Look at her attorney, Shumway Van. And then you go into her statements, where she says, I was not at the title company. This is the first I begin learning of the lies. So Bobby's story changes, Linda Naw's story changes. And again, you see right here, 2018, Bobby writes a whole statement on the behalf of Linda Naw, mocking my son's death, saying that I knew the whole time, and I was completely on board with them stealing everything that I had. So now that page is gone that I was missing. And defendant Bobby Ante says on social media that plaintiff Lindsay Ante was at her office all day and didn't want to come to the signing. But in his statement, defendant states that the notary was sent to the apartment of the plaintiff Lindsay Ante, which again was a lie. The realtor Linda Naw states that she had no knowledge of issues between the two parties, but in her statement admits to being present when all gift letters were retracted. And defendant Bobby Ante also admits to telling Linda Naw that plaintiff Lindsay Ante no longer wanted the home and people were getting into her head. Exhibit 58. So there you go. And here goes Bobby Ante. I don't know what you want out of me. I'm not here to watch you suffer and sink. Not trying to help. You need to make changes in yourself or else you're going to get worse. I told Linda, someone has discombobulated your mind. So he told her that I wasn't on board, that I wasn't in a good place. He told her this, and she continued. The realtor Linda Na again lies and says that they had no conversations without all three parties on the message. But again, defendant admits to talking amongst himself with the realtor Linda Na. In Linda Na's statement, she states notary Nikki Secaucus Bach worked for Stewart Title, when in fact she works for National Title. The escrow officer on the loan, Nikki Secaucus Bach, forged the notary on her own escrow file, but used the last name Bot on the escrow file. Exhibit 59. Exhibit 59. Wire instructions, says right here, escrow agent, Nikki Bot. Forged deed. You can also see right here how it says R48 respondent docs, provided by Bobby, Linda, and their lawyers. So they gave me the information that my name was forged. Another thing is, I would never sign anything notarized that's on two separate papers. That's also illegal. So again, Nikki Bot, escrow agent, clearly states on here that she's the escrow officer right here, Nikki Bot. So the notary, Nikki Secaucus, same goddamn person. So I made sure they knew that. Here she goes, right here. And again, this says she's at National Title Company, not Stewart Title. And it goes right here is her name, Nikki Secaucus Bot. Very clear and concise evidence. So then the realtor Linda Na, the plaintiff Lindsay Ante could not even have signed the name Lindsay Licari because her ID was surrendered to Nevada DMV December 26, 2017, and she was only known as Lindsay Ante. So Exhibit 60 shows, see the ID's void? I no longer even had an ID to sign Lindsay Licari. But of course, let them tell that story. Here, let me scribble out my driver's license number. So you can see here, I provided it for him. Very clear and concise. There was no way. It said on the DMV records, it was surrendered. There's no way I could sign with that name. The defendant Bobby Ante, who was being represented by Shumway Van, appeared in court with his counsel for exclusive possession, which was granted to the plaintiff Lindsay Ante, and at no time made mention of the quitclaim deed that Shumway Van is now producing fraudulently to Nevada Real Estate Board, Galvar, in an attempt to cover up his actions of their clients. Exhibit 61. So this is Exhibit 61. This again is part of the respondent docs. You can see it was from Shumway Van, in which they completely ignore that fraud has occurred, but they're representing both clients. Plaintiff Lindsay Ante has now filed a police report and reported Nikki Secaucus Bot and National Title Company, to which they completely ignored the complaint reported to them. 62. So I'm telling the judge, this is all in December 2018, that I'm reporting